Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Life is unfair, and we know this because when we look around us, we see that people have more than we do. We see that people have more money, they have better relationships, they have more things, they had a better childhood, they grew up for example, I was born in a developing country, other people were born in a developed country, which means they had better opportunities than I did, for example. They probably were richer than I was, so they had a better foundation, they had more opportunities, they could do more things with their life, which is why they have reached where they are today and something I couldn't achieve, for example, right? And that's why I would think of life as being unfair, because essentially we can't choose where we are born in. We can't choose the family we are born to, we can't choose which country we were born in, we can't choose our childhood. It is what it is just given to us. And then it is up to us now to make the most of the opportunities we have. But then if life is unfair, and if some people have just better luck, if you want to call it that, better opportunities than us, they just have a better framework, better foundation than us, then will we ever achieve anything in life? Will we ever reach to places that we want to? Because it's almost impossible if you don't have the correct framework, the correct opportunities, being in the right place at the right time, luck. If you don't have money, if you don't have all of these things, you can't reach to where you want to. So how do we conceive of life then? How do we understand life and try and make the most of the situation that we have been handed? Because essentially we did not control where we were born. We did not control who we were born to, which country we were born in. We did not control our family. We did not control any of those things that have led to for us to become the people we are today. We had no power over that. We did not choose that. It was just given to us. But if you think about it, life might be unfair, but each and every one of us has something special to give to the world. Something that, for example, from my perspective, something that only I can offer to the world because I am a unique person in a way. I have my own personality, my own upbringing. I am the person I am here today. And the world wants me as I am. And it wants me to offer what I can give to it because I have something special that other people will not have. And they have something special that I do not have, which is why we are all special in a way, right? And we all have an advantage, so to speak, in terms of we have this advantage that would allow us to rise above, to shine out, and to achieve the goals we want to achieve. We can call this advantage an unfair advantage because it is unfair. Just like life is unfair, this advantage is unfair because it makes us different from others. It makes us special and allows us to contribute to the world in a way that other people cannot. And this is actually the title of a book I read recently called The Unfair Advantages by Ash Ali and Hassan Kubba. It says how you already have what it takes to succeed. The whole ethos of this book, Unfair Advantages, is basically we all have something unique within us that we can offer to the world that is special to us and to no one else, right? So even though life is unfair, I agree life is unfair because I found it unfair too, because I mean, if you look at war-torn countries, people who live in those countries might think life is unfair because I get to sit here and just make a video at the comfort of my home and I don't know what's happening outside. I don't need to know what's happening outside, whereas they don't. Or life is unfair because I know a friend has so much more money than I have, which gave him the opportunities that I did not have, which meant that he reached the place where he reached to that I couldn't reach to. But that doesn't really matter because we can't control that aspect of life. But this we can control. Our unfair advantage is what makes us special. Now, this book was written in the context of entrepreneurship. So basically, a person trying to start a business, trying to develop a business, trying to grow a business in this world in the 21st century. And the whole point is that the authors are basically trying to propose that we have something unique to offer in this entrepreneurship journey, the unfair advantage that will make our business shine out from other people. Now, when you think of unfair advantage in terms of entrepreneurship, for example, the biggest unfair advantage by far we would think of is money. The more money you have, the more you can do. But that's not necessarily true, because a lot of people have money and yet they haven't made a lot out of their lives. They haven't made much of it because they don't have the drive, the discipline, the motivation, which are also important to be able to achieve something. And we know people who came from nothing, absolutely nothing, and look where they have come today. As an example, if you look at Stephen Bartlett, for example, at the age of 18, he was shoplifting. He was shoplifting pizzas or whatever it was to be able to feed himself. And look where he is now at probably 30. He's written 2 books. He leads a world-leading podcast, The Diary of a CEO, and he's the owner of multiple businesses. He's part of the Dragon's Den in the UK, which is also Shark. I think it's called Shark Tank in America or in Australia. But regardless, so he came from nothing and he built himself all the way up because he used what we call the unfair advantage. Now, like I said, it's not just money that makes us makes unfair advantages. There is a lot more than just money. Let me show you what the author says. So they have a framework called the Miles framework. So I think you can see this here. And essentially, the Miles framework stands for, so M stands for money, I stands for intelligence and insight, L stands for location and luck, E stands for education and expertise, and S stands for status. And this is the mindset, right, for the unfair advantages. And what the authors are proposing is that it's not just money that makes an entrepreneur grow to the business that he wants to grow. It's a lot of other things. Location and luck, being in the right place in the right time. You choose the place that you want to have your business. If it's an online business, and you choose the location of the online business, right? Whether it's YouTube or it's TikTok, it's Instagram, whatever it is, you choose that location to give you that unfair advantage that makes you rise above other people. Or it could be education and expertise, like you have a unique worldview based on what you have grown up with. For example, I've got a degree in philosophy, and I know I love philosophy, and I'd love to be able to synthesize the deep philosophical thoughts and be able to express them in a way that other people can understand. And that can be my unfair advantage, because I can read a philosophical text that might be hard, and because I enjoy it, I try and understand it. I can basically summarize it and explain it to other people in a way that they would understand it too. And that could be my unfair advantage. So it doesn't have to be something glamorous. It could be just something as small as that. Or for example, intelligence and insight. Again, comes back to how your mental framework and how, some people are very clever, but they're not very street smart, right? And some people are street smart, but they're not very clever. And again, so you use your unfair advantage. So even though you don't have formal education, right? Stephen Bartlett is going back to the first example I gave. He did not. He started university and he dropped out of university. Bill Gates dropped out of college. Elon Musk. Like, if you think of all of these people, like, you don't have to have formal education. Stephen Bartlett is a very learned man, but he's learned all of that on his own. He hasn't gone to university to be able to learn all of that, right? So intelligence and insight is another unfair advantage that we can have, that is in our control. So someone could be street smart. So even though if they're not book smart, they could be street smart, and they could use that to their advantage to be able to develop a business and grow that to a higher scale. Or for example, status. For example, not many people have a high status, but if you do, then you can use that to your advantage and become better. Improve your business and grow your business, and that's what the unfair advantage is all about. And I think it's a really good book. But I want to extend this, and I want to say that even though this book was written in the context of business and entrepreneurship, I want to extend it to life, right? Life is unfair, generally speaking, but each and every one of us has an unfair advantage that makes us special in this world. The way God created us, He didn't create us in vain. Like, we weren't created here just to have fun and then die. There was a reason. And if there was a reason, then each and every one of us has something unique to offer the world. When I was growing up, for a very long time, I thought that I was very average in terms of compared to other people. I did not have anything special. But as I've grown and as I've read and I've had more insight, I've understood that actually each and every one of us is so special. We have something unique that no one can provide this world. Let no one tell you that you have to have a PhD to be able to explain something to another person, or you have to be a certain way to be able to do something in this world. Because each and everyone, as long as you put your mind to it, you're passionate about it, you should go forward and do it, because the world is waiting for you to present that to them, present that to it, because you have a unique perspective that no one else has. So for example, let's just very mundane example. Let's say I want to write a book about stoicism, a very unique, very niche market, which is basically from the Greeks and the Romans, Marcus Aurelius Epictetus, for example. And if I think about stoicism, the number one person who comes to mind, who is like the dominant person, who owns the market, he's got a monopoly of the market when it comes to stoicism, is Ryan Holiday. Ryan Holiday has written a lot of books, probably about 16, 17 books. I just read one of his books recently. It's called Right Thing Right Now. It's all about justice. He's got a book called Courage is Calling, Discipline is Destiny. He's going to have a new book in the next few years on wisdom. He owns a space on stoicism. And then if I were to come along, as an example, I'm not, but as an example, if I wanted to say, I want to write about stoicism, but then I think, okay, no, Ryan Holiday has a monopoly here. Like everyone, whenever they think about stoicism, they think about him. No one's going to think about me. Actually, no, because Ryan Holiday has his unique perspective, but I will have my unique perspective. And when I read a text, I could give it a different meaning to what Ryan Holiday did. Even though we're reading the same text, we have a different interpretation because we have a different worldview, a different framework, we think in a different way. And we can provide something useful and insightful for other people to benefit. We don't have to be Ryan Holiday to be able to own the market in stoicism. We don't have to own the market. I mean, the whole point about living in this world is you contribute to this world in your own unique way. And it doesn't have to be something as glamorous as becoming the person who gets known about stoicism, like Ryan Holiday, like he owns the market. You don't have to be that. You can be your own person. You can be your own unique person with your own unique blueprint and footprint. And you can provide the world with your insight, because the world wants to hear from you. It wants to hear your perspective, not someone else's perspective, because they've given their perspective and the world's listened to it, but they haven't heard your perspective. So you have to give your perspective so that it can listen to it. And maybe it'll gauge and say, maybe it's not that beneficial. Or maybe it will say it is beneficial. We want to know more about it from your perspective. And that's why I think each and every one of us has an unfair advantage that we can use, we can contribute to society, and we can give back to society because we have something special. And let no one tell you or put you down and tell you that you do not have anything special, because you do. Each and every one of us. The fact that we exist in this world means we have something that we can offer the world, an unfair advantage that other people do not have. And everyone has their own unique unfair advantage. It is up to us to find out what is unfair advantage. I'm going through this journey myself to find out what my unfair advantage is, so I can give back to society in my own personal way. And you should be able to give back to society in your own personal way, because you are special and I am special. We are all God's creatures, God's creations at the end of the day, if you believe in God. And He has created us for a unique purpose. And He has given us a special ability, a talent, a superpower that we're just waiting to discover and then offer it back to the world. So I hope I encouraged you enough to read this book. I think it's a phenomenal book, fantastic book. It won the Business Award for the year, not surprisingly, because it's a very insightful book. And especially if you want to start a business or you're in the entrepreneurship journey, I think this is a very, very useful book to understand what your unfair advantages are and how to use them in a way that will allow you to stand out in the marketplace. And moving beyond that, like I explained in the last few minutes of this video, that it's not just a business world, it is even your own personal life where you have your unfair advantages, where you should discover them, find them out for yourself, and then offer it to the world, because the world is waiting for you and it wants to hear from you, because it is your unique perspective. And with that, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon.